those of us in children's television on the broadcast side and the syndication side were regarded as the bad guys, because the people behind that act, Peggy Charon and the group, were passionate in their belief that some of the things we were doing for children were harmful to children. So we were naturally adversarial. But there were components to the act that I personally was very supportive of. For example, one of the main things the act did was limit the amount of commercials in children's television, and I was all for that. And I was all for that even when I was running a broadcast company, the Fox Children's Network, because that was our revenue. But I liked the idea that we were restricted with the amount of commercials because I thought it was very interruptive. We learned a lot and did a lot of things back then that I thought were good solutions. For example, I wasn't convinced that children couldn't tell the difference between programming content and commercial content. But Peggy and the researchers had done a lot of work, and they felt that very young children did have the problem with distinguishing it. So we created what was called bumpers. And I was fine with that. I actually liked it aesthetically, creatively, because you would end an act and then you would have a bumper that showed something, benign, that was clearly meant to be a separator between programs and commercials. And it would say, we'll be right back after these commercials. And then at the other side, it would say, now back to our programming. So there were clear separators. Well, the reason I liked it aesthetically is, don't we all hate it when we're watching a program and it's either very funny or very dramatic, and all of a sudden, boom, you're into a commercial. It's like, what hit me? So I was favorable to that, and I thought, in case they're right, that their very young children can't tell the difference, this is a good solution. And Peggy embraced this as a solution. So we had the industry and she developed a good working relationship. There were times I thought it went too far, but it didn't necessarily go too far by Action for Children's Television or the Act. It was the interpretation of our own broadcast standards. For example, when I was at NBC, we did an animated show called Planet of the Apes, based on the first movie and the books of equal fame. And I got a call from the producer, to Patty Freeling, Friz Freeling Studio, his company, and they said, oh, we got a problem, Margaret, with your broadcast standards. They won't let us air the show. I said, what do you mean they won't let you air the show? They said, yes, your broadcast standards editor has said the music is too violent. What? What? So I got in my car, I drove over. My own broadcast standards person was there, who doesn't work for programming, he works for a separate division to keep it independent. And I watched the show, and the music was fantastic. Now, by the way, Patty Freeling had gone to London and used the London Symphony to score the series. It was a glorious score. So I said to Patty Freeling, what are we going to do? I don't want to change the music. I don't think you should change the music. They said, leave it to us. So they had the broadcast standards scheduled another screening for him to come in the next day, and I was there. I went in, they screened it the next day, and the broadcast standards editor said, okay, it's fine now. Thank you for making the changes. So he left, and I said to Patty and to Freeling, I said, what just happened? Because that was the same score. He says, yeah, but we use really little speakers. I said, you're kidding. He says, no, but it worked.
Wow.
So part of the problem was the way various broadcast, or part of the challenge was the way various broadcast standards editors interpreted all the rules about violence. There was nothing in the act that said that music could be deemed as violent. I mean, that's ridiculous. Right. But they interpreted it that way. So there was good and bad with the act. The limitation of commercial minutes, I was in favor of. The separation between commercial and program content, I was supportive of. So Peggy and I were often on opposite sides, but we learned over the years, we did respect each other, and I appreciated, and I say often today, sometimes I think we need a Peggy Charon because the bumpers have kind of gone away, and now you go right from commercials into programming, and I think it's a little disruptive, or some of the conscientiousness that we had to make sure we were making the right decisions I don't see today. It's kind of a wild, wild west now.